okay guys, like I could, you know, go get cleaned up and make it so I don't look like, you know, a really fucked up version of Harlequin right now, but I feel like this face probably is a better indication of how my night has gone than anything else I could probably show you or give you. So my first flight was delayed by an hour. So, and while I had a 2-hour layover until I had to be on the plane to Portugal, I figured that it would still be okay. I would still make it. However, there's a couple things happened that made that so that was not a thing. That was not a thing that happened. You know, they asked for people to check their bag, like if they would volunteer to check their bag for free, and I volunteered. Probably the only time I've ever done that. I was like, sure, why not? I'll check it. I've never had a problem before. Why? I'll be nice and do it and make things faster. Maybe to make it so like the plane doesn't take as long. And so I did it, and that was a mistake. So I was flying JetBlue from RIC to Boston, and there was a lot of turbulence to the point where like my poor flight attendant got like flew across the aisleway into somebody's seat, onto somebody that was sitting in the seat because the turbulence was so bad. Well, we landed and it's like, okay, whatever. I've never experienced turbulence like that ever either. I mean, the plane dropped like 3 feet. It's just like, whoop. That doesn't sound like a lot, but like if you're here and the plane goes poof, it's not subtle. At least that's what it felt like. It's like everything went flying. It was crazy. I'm sorry, that's a weird tangent. And so I go to the gate because for some odd reason they couldn't not only not print off my boarding pass for the TAP Portugal flight that I was supposed to get on. They couldn't print off my boarding pass when I had originally checked in at the airport. I don't know why, and they couldn't give me a reason why. They just said, no, you'll have to do that in Boston. I'm like, okay, fine, I'll do it in Boston. Like, whatever. So, you know, normally when you check a bag, they transport your bag from one flight to another flight. So that way there's like, you don't have to go to baggage claim to claim your bag. Well, this didn't happen. They put a little ticket on it and they took my bag away from me, and then it almost didn't make the baggage claim because they misplaced my bag. They almost left it on the plane. Yeah. So I didn't actually get my bag until 20 minutes after everybody else. I was the last bag to come out of that little chute. So at that point it was like 7:35 when I got my bag, and yeah, so I go up to TAP Portugal like super freaking out, and there's nobody there to check you in. Nobody. There's no one to check me in. They will not let me back into the airport because I had to go out to baggage claim to get my fucking bag. They would not let me go back into they would not let me go back into the airport because I didn't have a ticket. I didn't have a boarding pass, and I couldn't get a boarding pass because the place was closed. So I'm at this point like panicked because my flight is supposed to board in 15 minutes at that point. And then like, of course, I start crying because I don't deal with stress very well in this kind of situation. So I'm starting to bawl, as you can tell, and so the little old lady took pity on me because the guy that was there was just gonna like, you can't come in, whatever, you can't come in. So this old lady took pity on me. She took me up to the JetBlue counter, and the JetBlue counter was like, oh, well, it looks like they figured out that you were gonna miss your flight, so they booked you in Icelandic Air to go on Icelandic Air to Iceland, and then go from Iceland to freaking Norway. And I was like, okay, where do I go? How do I get there? Can I have a boarding pass for that? They're like, no, you have to get that from them there, and they're in Terminal E. Terminal E is like down the stairs, like forever and a walk away. Like you have to go down this really creepy ass hallway. And of course my phone dies at this point, guys. So I'm actually kind of glad that my phone died, so you couldn't see the full on like just meltdown and panic other than the remnants of what's on my face right now. I mean, it was just full on just like hyperventilating and all kinds of unhappiness going on. And I get to Icelandic Air, and then like this family is getting on the plane. There's only one guy there. They're getting on the plane, and then like the other half of their family comes up and just cuts in front of me because, you know, their family's already there. So they're like, whatever, let's just join. And so like and it wasn't a small family. It was like 10 people that were all traveling together, which is awesome. If you get to travel with your family, that's great. But it's kind of rude to like cut in front of someone who has been waiting behind the first part of your family for, you know, a solid 25 minutes thinking, oh god, I'm gonna miss this next flight because these people are fucking ever, and then now I'm gonna definitely miss my flight because the rest of their family's here and they have just as much luggage, and I'm just at this point just done. And I get up to the counter, and the guy was really nice, and he was like, yeah, I see you in here. You're in here twice. Why are you in here twice? I don't know. I didn't do it. I wasn't supposed to fly with you. I was supposed to fly with Portugal. And so he's like, called his supervisor, and he was like, well, it's in here twice. One of them shows it's canceled. The other one shows it's like, it won't let me check her in. I don't understand why it won't let me check her in. There's no ticket. Like, I don't get it. And so they call somebody else, and they're like, oh, well, it's something with their travel agency. They need to call their travel agency. I'm like, I don't have a travel agency. I use the internet, and I didn't book my flight with you. I don't know what I'm supposed to do now. They're like, well, if you didn't book the flight, who booked the flight? And I was like, well, JetBlue booked the flight because my flight was delayed and they misplaced my luggage, so I missed my flight. And they're like, okay, well, you have to go back to JetBlue. So I have to go walk outside, walk back through the creepy long hallway, up the stairs, and back to Avenue C, or Terminal C. By the way, it's snowing here in Boston. It's not even like real snow. It's like this slushy, icy mess, which is like perfect for my mood. And so I walk back up to C. I'm still crying. Like at this point, it's like it's like full on like just done, and like people are staring at me because I didn't see my face, guys. I didn't know it looked like this until I got into this hotel room. So now I know why people were staring at me like I was crazy, because I look fucking crazy. And so I get back to JetBlue. Another little older lady helps me. She's like, okay, well, you need to go right here. So I go right there. She's like, you need to ask for a supervisor. I'm like, okay. So I go up there and I ask a really nice lady named Christine, I need a supervisor. I don't know what's going on. I need to get to Oslo. And she was like, okay. And she starts looking stuff up with my ticket, because I only have like my one little ticket for JetBlue. And they're trying to find me, and they're like, oh, well, what's going on? Like, they look up the Icelandic Air thing that got canceled, and they're like, oh, well, the earliest flights we have, you'll be leaving 8 o'clock tomorrow night, and you won't get into Oslo until like 10 o'clock on New Year's Eve. And I'm like, 10 o'clock in the morning? And they're like, no, 10 o'clock at night. And I'm like, so you're saying that I was supposed to be in 2 o'clock in Oslo on the 30th, and you're saying that I'm not going to get back to Oslo until 10 p.m. on the 31st? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, no, that's not okay. That is so not okay. And so they get the supervisor, and the supervisor comes up, and I'm like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. This has never happened to me before. It's like the one time I've ever traveled by myself. First time I've ever traveled by myself, this happens. And so I'm like, okay, well, is there anything sooner? well, not Icelandic Air, that's as soon as Icelandic Air. And I'm like, okay, what about TAP Portugal? Because that's where I was supposed to fly out of to begin with. Do they have anything earlier? And they're like, no, that's also like actually arrives later and you leave later. And I'm like, well, this is not okay. I need to get to Oslo before New Year's Eve. I need that to be a thing. And so they call another airline, and so I'm flying out at 6 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, so I can be in Oslo at 10:41, maybe, in the morning instead of at night. And I'm just, that's the earliest they can find. At all the airports they call it, that's the earliest they can fly. So, as you can see, they put me in a hotel. It's probably the fanciest freaking hotel I've ever been in. It's Embassy Suites, and it's like a bathroom. I'll show you the hotel actually. If I actually care, I don't know. I might just get cleaned up and try to find food. And they gave me like all these pieces of paper for like food vouchers, and I'm like, okay, that's great. You're gonna put me in a hotel. That's awesome. How do I get to the hotel? Oh, we called the shuttle for you. I'm like, okay. Well, you know what, guys? Most hotels make you check out at 11. So guess what? At 11 o'clock, or like 10:30 or 11 o'clock, I have to go back to the airport. So I'm going to go hang out in the airport for 6.5 hours. That sounds awesome, right? It's so awesome. So awesome. And then Oslo's not even my final destination. Like, when I get to Oslo, oh shit, I don't know how to... Are they going to like cancel my... Fuck, I don't know what to do. Because I rented a car, and I don't know if they're gonna cancel my thing because I don't go pick it up. I don't know what to do now. Shit. Alright, I need to go look at that now. I'm like, it's just like everything was hinging, like all my plans were, like I didn't even really make any plans other than to pick the car up and when my Airbnb was gonna happen. Like, those are the only plans I made based on the timing that I thought was gonna happen, and now they're not there. Now nothing's there. Now I'm just so fucked. I don't know. I'm not fucked. I mean, like, at least they put me up in a hotel, and at least I have a flight out to where, like, I could still go do stuff on New Year's Eve, despite the fact that I'm going to be exhausted. And I don't know, guys. I'm just so tired and disappointed and really sad. And I'm normally a really happy person, and it was just like, I knew when my bag didn't come out of the thing with everybody else's. I just knew inside of myself that it was just not gonna happen. It just was not gonna happen. So, I'm sorry. I'm gonna go clean this hot mess up, and I'm gonna go downstairs and get some food. And I'm sorry to end this on a sad note, guys, but thanks for watching, and bye. I'll see you tomorrow.